Hey gang, Hammersill here. Joe sent this game replay file in and told me he had a pretty good game, so I'm looking forward to it. You can see we've got a Tier 5 match. It's all Tier 4 and Tier 5 ships. These are usually pretty fun. I sometimes equate these tiers to watching a Pee Wee football match. And if you've never seen a Pee Wee football match, the reason that I say that, you can imagine a bunch of little tiny kids with pads and helmets on and running around, can't really see very well, and bumping into each other and falling over. And anyhow, that's having coached Pee Wee football one time, a long time ago, that's what these low tier matches kind of remind me of sometimes. Not always. Sometimes you get some very experienced players in here, and I count Joe among those. He's waiting to see if that cruiser's going to wake up, I think. Yeah, the guns have traversed, so maybe that player's just refilling his coffee cup or beer stein. I guess depending upon what time of day it is and what kind of person we're talking about. Anyhow, enough about that. Marblehead's pushing in, which is going to give some opportunities to Joe. We do have a CV on either team, Hosho and a Hermes. Now, I have not had much experience with the CVs since the rework. Honestly, I found the whole rework pretty frustrating. I'm sure I'm not alone in that. And I'm still not really happy with where things ended up. Still feels to me like AA just really doesn't do anything in pretty much any tier. There are a handful of ships that can shoot down some planes now, but I really feel like AA got neutered. And the reason I say all of that is I did, at one point, a couple months back, try out a couple of the CVs. I still had some that were sitting in my port. But I wanted to try out the Hermes, and I did, and boy, that was a real lesson in frustration. It just was completely unable to do any damage. Broadside Marblehead, that always gets the blood pumping because Marblehead's turning in, so this is going to go over him. But Marblehead is pretty squishy. It's not too hard to land Citadel shots on a Marblehead. You can see on the mini-map, not currently in vision on the screen, but on the mini-map, there's a Clemson on the good guys team facing off with the Junwei. That's kind of an important battle. If the Clemson is able to finish off the Junwei, and he did, that's really going to open up this side for Joe. He's going to be able to push forward with much less to worry about. You know, I mean, if he doesn't have to contend with torpedoes out of the dark. Haroon's going to show a little bit of side, but I imagine he's probably going to turn in. You can see that he's just over 30 degrees. Actually, both are just over 30 degrees. Now, if anybody watching is not using the mod station, I really encourage you to do so. You can see just under the reticule there, the aiming reticule, there's something showing that says you know, the relative angle of each of the ships, the Joe's ship in this case, and whatever he has targeted. And as a general rule, if you can stay at 30 degrees or under relative angle to them, you're much more able to, depending upon where the shells land, of course, to bounce their shells or mitigate damage. So that Haruna is opening up his position. That shell's going to be a little high. It'll still do damage, but we're a little high for a citadel. And Joe lost a turret there, but was able to repair it. Friendly Clemson's pushing into New York. Yeah, if New York has HE loaded, Clemson might get him, but New York can definitely blap Clemson, especially at that range. I'm sure Clemson is thinking, well, I'll be able to finish this guy off with torpedoes here, but you just never know. Joe's zoomed in so we can't really see, but don't be too surprised to see the Clemson go down here. Whew, that was close. Nice shot. Now the good guys finish off two of the bad guys. Clemson made a pass on New York and did bang him up a lot. But it looks like the enemy CV is helping out New York now. Meanwhile, Joe's trying to take advantage of some angled Haruna here. Clemson goes down. Actually, the Mikoyan got the Clemson. Got Königsberg and Mikoyan came to help the New York. I'm guessing New York's going to start healing up. He is behind some smoke. He's probably going to try and stay out of sight for a minute to try and get some hit points back. Meanwhile, Joe's pushing up. And Joe still has the majority of his hit points. I think I would have fired on the Königsberg there. But there will probably be opportunities again later. There's not a whole lot over here other than Joe and this König right now. You can see the friendly Furitaka. But I imagine the Furitaka's it's likely that he's going to try and take on that 170, the V-170 in the very center of the map. Yeah, it looks like he's turning in to do that. So that's going to leave Joe lots of opportunity out here. Whew, that might be enough. Oh, so close. Now, will Joe get another shot to finish off really either the New York or the Haruna? That's what I was talking about earlier with the PV football. Guys running into each other. It's not that it doesn't happen in higher tiers, it just seems to be much more common at these tiers. Nice shot, Joe. And Haruna's still out there waiting for you to finish him off too. And well, looks like he's going to burn down. I'm not sure I would waste any shots on him. And you are reversing. So you have to wait on the front gun. So yeah, he's going to be gone before you can pull the trigger. Looks pretty good. Yeah. Certainly not what you hope for, but at least you hit him. Here comes some aircraft trying to dissuade you. And Mikoyan is barely moving now. You can look at the smokestacks. He's probably at a quarter speed now. Yeah, nice adjustment, Joe. Oh, he's trying to pour the speed on now. You can see the smokestacks, and Joe's adjusting. He's slowing back down. He's really playing with the throttle, trying to save himself out there. One overpen. That's frustrating. And then there's the Hermes back there too. Now there's a decision to be made here. Does Joe continue to use the back guns and just keep heading to the one line, or turn in? I think he's making the right choice here, but it does limit him to just his front guns. And torpedo planes coming in, but it looks like they're going to go for Koenig at least first. That's probably it for Mikoyan. And it is. Great shot, Joe. And Joe shoots down his second aircraft and finishes off his second ship. And Hermes is in big trouble here. Now Furitaka did come this way. He's pretty banged up. Now Hermes is trying to get a little speed going, but it's not going to be enough. That's going to hurt. Yeah, great shot, Joe. Landed him right underneath the stacks there. You can see the enemy V-170 is moving across. It's hard to know whether he wants the friendly Hosho or if he's trying to get a piece of Joe, but either way, he is moving center. And it's two cruisers over there facing off with the friendly Danae. Another great shot, Joe. Finished him off with a Citadel. That was sweet. That's 3 kills for Joe. And it's feeding time. This is a real cracking potential here. 2 light cruisers dead ahead. Both preoccupied with a friendly light cruiser. Oh, that might be enough right there. And it is. Great shot, Joe. That's what I was talking about a little bit earlier with Marblehead being so squishy. Königsberg, getting back to the Pee Wee football thing, has beached himself. You can see he's still got the engines running, probably wondering why his position isn't changing. You know, a lot of times newer players, you know, they're just zoomed out, they're focused on a ship, and you know, really there's a lot to keep track of in this game. Now you can hear the torpedoes. Joe does eat 2 of them, but he's able to repair, and he's got 3 heals left, so he's still in pretty good shape. And you can see that DD is headed south, so there is a little bit of room to maneuver here. Now Königsberg was behind the island, but he's reversing. He's going to make this really easy for Joe, and looks pretty good. That's it. Great shot, Joe. Kraken unleashed. I don't care what tier you're playing, pick up a Kraken. That's something to celebrate. That was awesome. And it looks like Joe is also going to get a solo cap here. I'm sure his experience points were pretty darn good in this game. So he shot down 4 aircraft. Tanked 683,000 roughly potential damage. A Kraken, 3 Citadels, a solo cap, landing 40 shells, and this all in 13 minutes. The aircraft carrier is probably going to finish off that B-170, so I will say, Joe, thank you very much for sending in this game replay file. This was really fun to watch, and I appreciate it. And those of you watching along with me, thank you very much for spending a few minutes. Really appreciate it. And I will see you next time.